only know one truth. It's time for the Jedi to end.
The Resistance flees the First Order, who has assumed military dominance since the fall of the Republic, while Rey tries to recruit Jedi Master Luke Skywalker to help restore hope to the galaxy. The good. The story of this film follows a bit of a twisted path. Moment to moment, it can be a little hard to guess exactly what's going to happen next. The movie also gives us a great sense of how fractured the Resistance is after the fall of the Republic in The Force Awakens. The Star Wars movies that come closest to this movie in terms of how much the odds are against the good guys are Revenge of the Sith and Empire Strikes Back. Location-wise, the story takes place mostly in one particular area of space. Given that relatively singular location, it allows the focus to double down on the dire situation happening in that general area of space. Be it in that location or not, what we do see is well shot and very pleasing to the eye, be it action, an important character moment, an emotional moment, or even just getting a good look at whatever happens to be in the frame at that moment. In The Force Awakens, I felt like a lot of its characters were guided by the necessities of the story and what they needed to do, but in this movie, I feel like the characters are far more driven by their desires, their goals, or how they feel about a situation. We get Luke's views and state of mind about the Force at this point in his life, more of Kylo Ren's backstory, what drives Rey on a personal level, Finn going through a meaningful and enjoyable story arc alongside a new character named Rose, who's a great catalyst for his development, and apparently saying that I enjoy that part is an unpopular opinion. And this time around, we get a bigger helping of Poe Dameron than we get in The Force Awakens. Not only is Poe still very likable, but he also gets a rather meaningful story arc. This film also marks the final performance of Carrie Fisher as Leia Organa. Part of the purpose of the sequel trilogy seemed to be passing the torch to the new generation and serving as send-offs for some of the older original trilogy characters. And I'm a little disappointed that we won't get to see materialize the story that would have given Leia Organa her send-off. But this movie did make Leia feel symbolically important the way she needed to be, not just for the characters, but probably for the fans of Princess Leia over the last 40 years. And for that, Carrie Fisher gave a good performance. The iffy. This movie has a pretty decent number of gags in it, and most of them are funny and fitting for the moments that they appear in. I think we could have done without them in some of the more serious moments, but at the same time I feel like they were downplayed enough that they don't disrupt the tone of the scene. There are moments in the film, minor ones, that don't play any central focus to the scene or the story, that just feel very strange to behold, and I kinda wonder why they were included. I find it a little odd that Rey is able to exhibit the amount of power that she displays in this movie on account of the fact that at the beginning of the movie, a lot about the Force is still a huge mystery to her. In the grand scheme, it doesn't bother me that much, and I do actually have some narrative speculations about why this might be. This film does its part to try some new things with the mythology of the Force that Star Wars hasn't done before. Having seen this movie once, I had a positive impression of this new stuff. At the same time, I put this under iffy because I feel like this is going to be a divisive topic. Whenever you try something new with the mythology of the Force, see midichlorians for example, people are going to get a bit heated about it, and I just get the feeling that it's something that we're going to be discussing the merits of going forward. While C-3PO, Chewbacca, and R2-D2 are in the story, I kinda wish that the movie had a little bit more for them to do. They show up when they're needed though, and they're not used when they're not necessary just because, you know, they're the legacy characters. They're letting the new stuff have their turn at it most of the time. A couple moments in this movie I feel towed the line of jumping the shark. And while I do admit some of these moments were awesome to behold, it also pushes my perception a little bit of what's possible in the reality of this world. Even for Star Wars. The bad. My main criticism of this film is wasted potential, lost opportunity, whatever you want to call it. A couple of characters that appeared in The Force Awakens do appear in this movie, but unfortunately don't get the expansion that I think a lot of people wanted to see from these characters. Also, Finn and Poe, who had really good chemistry with each other in The Force Awakens, didn't have very many scenes together in this movie. I hope that's corrected in Episode 9 because not having those two characters together is a huge missed opportunity. The verdict? I'll try my best to put this sensation into words. Apart from the missed opportunities that I mentioned in the bad category, I feel like I had a vague, non-specific fantasy of what kind of film I wanted this to be. in a sense that if it was right, if it was everything I ever wanted, it would just feel right. And that I don't think I exactly got. Now, in regards to the film that we did get, I think it was still very enjoyable. The tension was always high, the action was fun, and it was a blast learning more about some of these characters. In contrast to The Force Awakens, which served as a giant homage to what we loved about the original trilogy, The Last Jedi has a bit more of a unique identity in comparison to the other Star Wars movies, and that's something that I appreciated a lot. This is Detective Steve, and Rian Johnson apparently has a bountiful future in Star Wars. Looking forward to it.